Welcome to Next to Madison, a podcast to help you live your best life. Hey, welcome back to another episode of Next to Madison. On today's episode, I am sitting down with an amazing comedian, actor, writer, roast battle connoisseur. He has been the star on popular sitcoms like Superior Donuts. You've seen him on Comedy Central. You've seen him on so many countless TV shows. I can't even list them all right now. But this guy is amazing. He's not only an amazing fucking entertainer, he is an amazing person. So I'm so excited to have him on. We're going to be talking about what it's like to be on a sitcom, how to break through in Hollywood, where we think the history of roast battles are going to go, especially in this kind of cancel culture, woke culture that we got going on, and how we can all survive and maybe not get canceled. So with that being said, I'd like to welcome my guest today on Next to Madison, Rell Battle. How you doing?
Hey, I thought I was going to have more of music playing. There's no band.
I know. We got to put that.
We ain't got no piano. We ain't got no Paul Schaefer. All right. It's good. How you doing, Maddie? What's going on, girl? How you feeling?
Everything is good. Everything. Yeah. So you're in LA. You are back in work.
Right.
You're writing right now, right?
Yeah, I'm writing on the show right now. So yeah, I've been kind of in the house for the most part, doing a lot of work there. Yeah.
So can you say what show you're writing on?
I don't know if I can say it. I'll just say that it involves the biggest superstar in comedy. He always gives out a lot of opportunities to people. So let's just say he's the biggest superstar, but not the biggest in size. That kind of gives you a hint.
The biggest Bill Burr?
Exactly. So yeah, I'm doing some writing for a project. So I'm really excited about it coming out this summer. Yeah.
Oh, that's so exciting. When in the summer, do you know? Because we are in the summer right now.
It's going to be around the Olympic, like late Olympics, like early August. You start seeing the episodes of it. Yeah.
Okay, can you say what channel it's going to be on? So people
it's going to be on Peacock.
Nice.
Yeah. A little streaming money.
Yes, hell yes, and it's so well deserved. Because how long have you been doing this comedy thing?
I'm about 12, 13 years in. Yeah.
Okay, so this is the time when people really, because when you start, you always think it's going to happen so much faster. I know. Yeah. I did. But this is kind of the time when things really break through. But you had a big breakthrough about 4 years ago when you were cast on a very funny, amazing show. I think it was CBS, Superior Donuts, right?
Yeah, I got cast as a character on a show called Superior Donuts on CBS. We had a 2-season run, 2 years, some of the most fun, the most learning I've ever had in my life. I spent way too much money. I didn't know what to do with it, so I went a little crazy. But it was a great experience working alongside the greats, Judd Hirsch, David Koechner, Katie Seagal. So we had a all-star team of people working with us who I can just go hang out with every day and learn the game from. So it was pretty dope.
I just love that. And so how did you get considered for that role? Did you just audition for it, or?
It's funny. You know what's funny, Madison?
What? It's all about
No, I actually went in. Jermaine Fowler was the star of the show, Franco. And I was on my way to Jermaine to do the audition for Jermaine's role. On my way there, my agent calls me and says, they gave it to Jermaine Fowler. I go, okay, cool. That's my guy. Yeah. So I was going home. He said, hey, can you come in for another character who was the cop from the first season? I go in for the cop like 2 times. I test for the police officer. They go, he's too young for the cop. And there was a character that was just a guest star. That was Jermaine's character, Franco's best friend. And they said, well, can you come in for this guest star for his best friend? I was like, all right. And I went to the audition, and I got the guest star role. And then I guess the guest star role people kind of liked it. And CBS ended up changing my guest star to a main cast member. So I got in the cast for 2 years. It was great.
It was great. I loved your name, though. Like, how the heck did they come up with the name Sweatpants?
No idea. Only name I knew was Bank of America. That's what I focused on.
Right, exactly. So let's talk about that, though, because, people that, you were doing well. Everybody kind of knew who you were. You were running these roast battles. You were amazing. But then you went into TV money, which is a totally different level. And as you said, you spent a lot of money. Yeah. So what did you learn from that experience from spending too much? Like, are you smarter now financially?
I think everybody needs to spend a lot of money at first. I think I think that's the point. You need to, you only learn from your mistakes. So yeah, I don't regret it at all. I think I needed to. You understand? I'd bust my ass for. Can I curse up here?
Yeah. Well, I said in the opening, so yeah.
I'd bust my ass for I want to say about like 8 years, doing okay, I really struggled for like 6 years. After my 6th year, I started kind of really being able to survive and figure out where I'm at and get my shows and stuff. So I bust my ass for a long time. So I feel like I deserve that. I deserve the right to go wild and party and vacation a little bit. So I did that for about a year and bought every pair of Jordans you could think of. And then after about a year, I was like, cool, I started investing and I got my business management and stuff. So I learned that I had to do it to see what not to do. But, you only learn by fucking up. That makes sense.
That's exactly right. So do you have like a wealth manager now?
Yeah, I got everybody. I got a lot of people in my pockets.
Okay,
handling
good.
a lot of the stuff. But yeah, but I was always a guy about the work anyway, and I hate to be that guy, but I was always about doing good projects, and so I have fun, and now I just kind of do things that I really want to do. That makes sense.
Which is so great.
Yeah.
And so with the writing on the show, because that is a very busy full-time job. I mean, luckily it doesn't run all year. So are you still able to really get up and get on stage and do a lot of the stand-up, or?
Yeah. Writing it's like a 9 to 5. A lot of the times you write from like 9:30 to like 4 or 5. So I can still go and do 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock shows. And, I'm up every day at like 8 o'clock anyway. So, no, it hasn't really stopped anything. I took off the first week to just kind of focus on the new job and figure out where do I fit, what am I doing in writing. I've been in a writer's room like 4 years maybe. So I took some time to kind of figure out what I'm doing, and then now I'm full speed ahead. Now I can start getting back out there and get my spots back.
I love it. So let's talk about
these pages.
Yeah, right. Let's talk about being in the writer's room. Or first of all, how do you get a job as a writer on a television show? Like, what's that process like?
Well, so this job, I already had writer's jobs before. I did Superior Donuts, so it was kind of like a lot of it's relationships. It's not about packets are the traditional way, but most writer jobs come from people you work with, other writers, other producers. He's my friend, who's your buddy. Yeah. The most important thing about being a writer's job is if you can survive in the room. At the end of the day, people don't want to be in a room for 8 hours a day with somebody they hate. So it's about just being cool in the room. Just being, that's the biggest, I would argue half of the writers in the game are good. The other half just are like, don't ruffle feathers in the room. People just want to be comfortable. So a lot of the times it's submitting packets. A lot of times it's meeting people, relationships. If other comics know you're a good writer, they might actually be on their writing team. And obviously submitting packets if from your agents and managers. But I think the best way is just making relationships. That's the best way I know how to do it.
Yeah, I think that goes down to kind of anything, right? It's all, they always say the old saying, which can be annoying, but it's so true, is it's all about who you know. So the most important thing you can do is,
get. But if you're a dope writer hanging out at the comedy club, somebody's going to want to work with you. That's just how it goes.
Yeah. So let's. I kind of want to go through. I want you to kind of take us through a brief day of like when you're gonna go, when you meet on like a Monday, if you're on a sitcom and you guys are working on that week's episode or the next week's episode. How does the creative process go together with 20 people in a room or more? Is there kind of like a guideline of, the showrunner says, okay, this episode ended with this, we want to take the storyline here, and then what happens from there?
Well, it depends. If you're writing on a narrative show like a CBS sitcom, or you're writing on like a topical show like a Colbert or Jon Stewart or whatever. So usually for a narrative, you're about 6-7 episodes ahead, right? Mm-hmm. The season has already been outlined, right? Yeah. You already know what episode 12 is going to be. So you're just trying to put these puzzle pieces together. That's all writing is, putting these puzzle pieces together. Yeah. And so we'll go episode 5. This, like you said, this happened last episode. What has to happen this episode? And so the showrunner will kind of it'll be somebody's episode, some specific writer, and the showrunner will assign groups of 2 or 3 to go, okay, you can write the first act, you can write the second act, you can write the third act. That takes about, half a week. And then you guys kind of come together, you argue, debate, figure it out, have all your pieces together, all the clothes line up in the hamper, and you give it to whoever the weekly writer is, the main writer of that week. You give it to him or her. They take it home for maybe a week, and they kind of pick the outfit. Does that make sense?
That makes total sense. But if you're having people writing different acts, obviously they know what the narrative needs to be and what the
Right.
dialogue kind of needs. So at least it comes together versus being like, okay, this is good, but this is jumpy.
Right. Have all the pieces for the episode, and one person kind of goes and puts it together.
Yeah.
And kind of, punches it up or changes this. But we all know what the elements inside are going to be. But the person whoever is assigned to write it that week will kind of formulate the episode, because so it's always collaborative. Even if it says one person wrote it, it's usually like 20 people writing it, but one person oversees it. Unless it's like David Chase of The Sopranos, who kind of does his thing on his own. So, and I think people also need to know, this is like a little side thing, everybody's not a writer per se in the same context. You have people who are just script people, who just know format and know this is the first act, this is the second act, this is how the act's supposed to play. You have people who are just great for jokes, who just sit in the back and go, he should say this, she should say that. who probably don't even know how to use a computer, but they're just there to throw out, seriously, they're just there to throw out jokes. And then you have people that can do it all. So every position in the writer's room is not the same. Everyone plays their role.
Okay, well, that's excellent. So what do you like more? Do you like writing or acting?
They're my babies, Maddie. They're my babies, man. They're all, I get sick of them all at times. When I've been doing a lot of film work, it's very emotionally stunting, very emotionally draining. So I might want to step away and do some stand-up straight for a while. Then I've been sick of the road and just want to be in LA working. So I might get a writer's job. I'm in LA for 6 weeks to 2 months or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I'll miss being on set again. So I try to, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
it depends on the energy and the mood where I'm at. Like right now, I miss stand-up a lot. I just finished a short film last weekend, and that was great. And now I'm in the writer's room, and now it's like, I wish I was kind of on the road doing stand-up. So my mood's change. That's why I do all three of these things, because my mood kind of changes, and I want to be able to be fulfilled in every area. If that makes sense.
That makes absolute sense. And you've worked so hard, but it's like you're so blessed to have those options, to be like, okay, now I want to do this and I can do this and this and this, you know what I mean? So what do you think the big thing for you was that kind of broke you through into Hollywood? Because breaking through Hollywood is the most difficult part. And then things seem to get a little bit smoother,
Breaking through, I guess Roast Battle kind of gave me the most attention I had garnered up to that point. I had done TV. I'd done Adam Devine's House Party. I had done commercials and stuff, and I was passing a couple of clubs. But what kind of made, the powers that be go, oh, this kid's doing something, was probably Roast Battle. It was creating that show kind of put me on the map outside of just the local LA scene.
Yeah.
Because it's the first time I got, into those, those magazines of top 30 comics. It's first time my name was associated with something with Montreal, New York, the kind of New York comics kind of knew more about me than just a guy that comes to town every once in a while. So it definitely put me on the map as far as outside of where I was doing okay. I was making money and performing, but Roast Battle kind of like, oh, Dave Chappelle knows who you are, and Bill Burr and all these guys.
That's great.
I was able to meet through that show. So yeah, that was a big part of my career.
So where do you think with this whole kind of where this especially with cancel culture and people being offended by the breeze, where Roast Battle, are they going to continue to go on? Are they going to have to be more censored and monitored? Are they not going to be like what's going to happen to Roast Battles?
I don't think anything's going to happen different. I think if Roast Battle's not on, it's because it's just Comedy Central just doesn't want to put it on. The ratings aren't great or whatever. But I don't think cancel culture really affects anything major. I think it's like energy and it's loud, but it really doesn't affect. Like cancel culture's always been here. People used to protest outside of Richard Pryor's concert. People used to protest Eddie Murphy outside of the Madison Square Garden forever. Yeah, cancel culture's never not. Lenny Bruce was arrested on stage and fined and put in jail.
Yeah.
So cancel culture's never. It's just now there's more. It's just more voices. Twitter isn't the world. Twitter is a group of people who feel a certain way. The same amount of people always hated certain things, but we couldn't hear them. So people that usually get canceled usually do something so fucking crazy that you don't even want to see them. You know what I'm saying? People that can get their ass beat for stuff. So you know, now because of podcasts, there's no cancel culture, not really effective. Like you say something fucked up and crazy, and people get mad at you, but if you have 1 million listeners on your pod, does it really matter?
No, because they can't control your money.
You can't control your people. Want to there's always going to be a group of people who want to hear the raw shit, good or bad. So I think why cancel culture's attention, why people giving attention to it is because comics and actors and musicians give attention to it. If we ignored them, it wouldn't really make a difference. But you gotta understand, when somebody wants to cancel somebody and then another famous person retweets it and saying you shouldn't be canceling, blah, 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 then people go, oh, what the fuck did Taylor Swift just say? You know what I'm saying? So I think we give it too much attention. I think cancel culture has the right to want to cancel people. People, just like we have the right to say what we want to say, they have the right to hate us. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Ultimately, at the end of the day, they tried to cancel Eminem 1,000 times. And what did it do? It made him more popular.
That's true.
So talent will always overpower those people yelling to stop stuff. You know what I'm saying? I understand that element of it too. Like if you've been hurt or you've been treated a certain way and somebody says something that offends you, you might want to shut them down. I get people being upset. But ultimately, artists have to do their art, and people who don't want to listen don't have to listen. But I personally haven't seen comedy change. I see people being more afraid to say shit, but that's kind of on you. Burr is still talking that shit. Chappelle is still talking that shit.
I love
Rock is still talking that shit. Comics on our level still talking that shit. What has it really changed? The people that getting canceled are raping people, not because of the comedy.
Not because I told an offensive joke.
Yeah, they gotta do with the jokes. It's the rape. But
don't do that. That is terrible. And if they are raping people, they should be. So wait, speaking of that, what do you think of Cosby getting out of jail?
It's a weird thing. I said this on Twitter. I'm like, Cosby's innocence is QAnon for black people. Like, clearly, I don't know the amount, 50 something women. Clearly, he was he did some sexual misconduct. I don't think it's not a real argument, but culturally, he meant so much to people that it's kind of like, it's almost like your grandfather being a rapist. No matter what you say, I'm not going to believe it. So, he's not the best moral dude. Philly fucked up. Technicalities happen, and they got to release him through the Constitution. So it's not what I think is that the law fucked up.
Yeah.
So
he's gonna go back on stage.
You know what? He's arrogant enough that he probably would. I wouldn't be surprised that he probably would. And listen, there's enough people who will want to see him. There's always going to be a market, huh?
Yeah, exactly. There are going to be people that he could sell out rooms because he still is Bill Cosby, even though. But I think there's also people that are like, wow, this guy was the America's dad, and then he, all his ugliness came out, and he was put away for that, and the girls had justice.
Yeah.
And then it's like there's also people that are like, but this guy could die at any moment. He's 82, and any day could be something. Like, listen, I saw Bill Cosby after prison. So, yeah, he probably could do fine.
Listen, people are going to justify however they want. So you're going to see people are going to, they're going to find a reason to go see him. You know what I mean? Like, people don't care.
Right.
What I've learned about this last year in COVID, people don't give a fuck. People don't give a fuck. What affects me and my family? That's about it.
Yeah, and I had somebody make that argument, which I thought was good, because I was concerned for humanity and just the amount of hatred I was seeing, and it was breaking my heart, and I was praying for healing and unity, and just that the Lord would bring us all together and just see more compassion in the world. And somebody wrote to me, and they're like, or somebody told me, they said, you know what? Most people, the majority of people, if it doesn't affect their family, them, their everyday lives, they don't give a fuck. So you want to make a difference and have justice served for certain things, but most people don't. So you have to just kind of,
let's be honest,
not stress out too much about it. I was like, oh, jeez.
I'm gonna be real with Cosby. people are, it's Pascal's wager, man. It's like what he represents and what he has done to people culturally, no matter every race, is more important than those 50 women to a lot of people. People really truly believe that. I know that for a fact. So to me, that's insane. But people got jobs and work to do. They're not concerned about shit that doesn't affect them. It wasn't my daughter. That's how they look at it. So that's the world. That ain't just us.
I know. Well, it's true. Yeah. It's just that thing. And, obviously you and I have compassion for these women and
of course.
They went through and, you just hope that you don't, have to have one of your loved ones go through that again, or if, so
right.
It's still like you can't control it. So.
Right. So, but when you think about it, it's fucked up. 2 years.
Totally fucked up. Now I'm just concerned about Weinstein getting out because that became a thing too.
I don't think he's getting out. I think that's a wrap.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
I think he's gonna be in for money.
He was a dick before we even found out he was.
Yeah.
People hate it.
Exactly.
But they needed to kiss his ass because he could make or break you in Hollywood.
100%. Yeah.
How is that in Hollywood? Have you encountered people that kind of, obviously there's a lot of egos, but have kind of given that arrogance of, if anyone fucks with me or I don't like them, I'll ruin their career. Like, have you? Oh
yeah, 100%. I've experienced that. Yeah, I've experienced that with people. I know people who've done it. I've gotten you'll never work in this town again, and then they don't say it like that. They go, we don't know if you're going to get the bookings anymore. Yeah.
And why would they say that? They didn't like you. A girl.
Listen, man. This is a game of ego. This is a game of talent. This is a game of I've been banned from the Comedy Store from comics who had issues with me. Like, people who have when you get power, you want to exercise it. You know what I'm saying? So
why would you have an issue with you? I feel like you're like one of the nicest people, and you're like so kind, and you're always.
You know what? I say the same thing.
Yeah.
I say the same thing, Madison. I'm not one of the comics always trying to sleep with every. But look, listen, we're comedians. We have egos. We have pride. We
have insecurity too. A lot of
insecurities.
It comes from insecurity, not usually. Ego and insecurity is what it comes from. Because if you're insecure, they're insecure, and you become a threat to them.
Right.
That's when they want to take you out. If you're not a threat to them, why would they make such a bold statement?
I don't even look at it as like a big thing. I think of it as like any profession, any industry. If you're in the plumbing industry, the bigger plumber company is going to try to shut out the smaller plumber company. This is the industry. So our industry happens to be art and craft, and so I'm not surprised by it. I was actually excited. I was like, oh shit, I'm in the game now. What? I've had lawyers from different agencies tell them that they were going to drain me. They were going to sue me until I can't afford to keep up, and then give up things I've owned. So I've heard it and seen it all. Also, but at the end of the day, I'm from a very tough neighborhood, so I was like, I got through that. What the fuck what is this game?
Yeah, there's shit, right? You're like, bring it.
Yeah, it's like whatever. So it's the game. It's exciting though. It's like Entourage a little bit sometimes.
It is. That is true. Yeah. But like, what? Yeah. I mean, you probably can't get into it, but like, what would they have wanted to sue you and drain you for?
I've created a number of shows at this point, Madison, and a lot of times people want to jump on your ideas. They want to try to take a piece of what you've created. People feel like they can do better with it. People try to pretend like they came up with the ideas, or that they helped, or they did it. They helped it flourish. And when you'll sell shit, but anytime you sell something that gets popular, everybody and their mother who had even a little bit of a hand in it wants a piece, right? So if you have a show that's running and somebody gives you an idea, like a piece, maybe you should try bringing this person in, and that happens. They feel like, oh well, I need to get 50% of your project, or if they videotaped it once and gave it to you, and you can cut it and edit it down. Hey, I need to get 20% of your budget because of this. It's like, so everybody and their mama, when they see dollar sign, they jump on. But I'm too thorough for that, so I just kind of be like, I never really took much to it. And I got good lawyers.
So are you a lawyer? Do you pay that? No, I have a question about that. Because in Hollywood, there's a lot of lawyers that work on contingency.
Right.
You're paying them like an agent or a manager.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good question though for entertainers, because I'm kind
Right.
of going through that myself. Do I want to pay them $700 up front an hour? Or
Mm-hmm.
do I want to give them a contingency rate, whether it's 5 to 10%
Mm-hmm.
on the project for now until I'm a little more flush with cash, and then go off the contingency
Well,
or lower it?
lawyers are somewhat like independent contractors, so they get paid based on what you sell or what you book or whatever. So if
Yeah.
I book you tomorrow movie tomorrow, they get 5% or whatever.
Your lawyers, even if
My lawyers
but they're doing your contract for that movie and
for
negotiate
that movie,
pay.
yes,
So
right.
they don't get 5% of your stand up they don't
No,
have
no,
it.
no, 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 no.
5% of
Only what I bring you. If I get a deal and I negotiate it myself, I keep that. So
Yeah.
so sometimes with clubs, I'll negotiate that myself. I go to
Yeah.
comedy clubs, like I need this, blah blah blah. That's small. That's small money. If I'm doing a TV, if I'm selling a television show, which can be upward into whatever, crazy money, whatever. I don't know the jargon. I'm not that, I didn't go to, Howard Law. So I should just sit my black ass down and go figure it out. Because it's a bunch of percentages and numbers and points and shit I don't even understand. And you got to trust your lawyer to take care of that. So,
Yes.
so the big stuff, I kind of go to them and they get 5% of those. Yeah. And then you got to give 10% to your manager, 10% to your agent. So
Yeah. I know.
25% gone.
Isn't that crazy? I know.
Yeah.
I had when I was working with an attorney at first, it was a contingency thing, and we were so close. And they put in their time for some negotiations, and then the network didn't pick up the show, and the production company kind of was like, well, we want to switch directions. And I'm like,
Right.
but I probably utilized like 20 grand of their service, and they're getting
Of
zero.
course.
But they took that risk. But now I need them to look at something else for me,
mm-hmm.
and I've got this weird like guilt, but I shouldn't have that guilt because they're going to get more than more.
You shouldn't have guilt at all. Listen, your job is to, if the deal goes through, you get the percentage of that. That's the period.
Okay.
If it doesn't work, so there's no guilt there. Your job, like at the end of the day, they're getting 5% for doing paperwork that they know how to do.
Yeah.
So it's it takes a day or two to do the work. I'm not saying that their jobs are hard. They have multiple clients, but they're getting 5% to do what they love doing anyway. So it's I don't feel bad about it. It's about getting money. They're gonna get their money.
Right. I'll be like, you'll get paid when I sell a show, but it's gonna go through these different obstacles. Right. Negotiating things and making sure people are secure and things like that.
100%. 100%.
It's always an interesting thing because I was thinking about that and I was running the numbers. I was at $10,000 up front for a big contract negotiation, or 5 to 10% of the life of the project.
No, I would do. I think, look, 10% for the project is not, that's standard anyway.
So exactly. So I think the more you make, then you can.
It's never about
like reduce it, right? The more you make, I think, with the lawyers.
Well, not with lawyers, but I look at it like this. I look at it like, it's not really about the money on the first project you sell. It's about getting in there, the opportunity. Yeah. Rell Battle was the second project I sold, but that was more about getting a name in the game where I can sell other things. So I've sold 3 things since then, right?
What are the things that you sold since then?
I sold a show 2 years ago to Comedy Central. Didn't work out. We shot a pilot, but it didn't work out. I sold another project that's still kind of pending, so I can't really get into it because there's some thieves in this motherfucker. And I sold a show to NBC back in October. I showed a television narrative and about lawyers actually, which is interesting.
You're like the biggest badass ever.
I wish I've sold 5 projects, but they gotta come on the air. So out of the 5 I sold, one has made it to air. So that's still 1 out of 5.
Hey, it's better. It's better than the thing. So like, how did you like break through to get somebody to like buy the project?
Well, for one, have a plethora of ideas. I think.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I never, if I have any talent, which I don't, that's questionable. If I have any talent, is that I never run out of ideas. I never run out of. I always try to see I always think of like, what do I want to see and what's not being done, and I try to find a good space between there. And those projects are usually the ones that sell. And, you know, I've worked with a lot of people, you know, I've made enough connections where I can go, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? And you got to have somebody who believes in you to kind of jump on and go, this is the shit, to send this out. So reps are important, but like I said, relationships, you know what I'm saying?
Totally.
If I got something dope, you know, I'll call up Marlon Wayans, and I'll call up, you know, Will's company, people I've worked with, and be like, hey, I got this thing. Let me pitch this to you. And you just got to make sure that it's good enough that they'd want to fuck with it. You know their brand. If I'm going to call Kevin Hart to pitch a show to his company, I got to know Kevin's brand and say, this is something that Kevin Hart would fuck with. Don't take, an action. Don't take a silly comedy to Kate Blanchett's production company, whatever the fuck it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Kind of know your audience. And that's kind of how I've been able to kind of maneuver.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That makes complete sense. So that's freaking great. So when you're done with this writing gig, if the show comes out, are you going to go back on the road?
I'm testing for this TV thing that I'm trying to get. So I'm trying to get back. I got to do this acting thing that hopefully if I get it, I'll be good money. And I gotta work on that for a little while. But definitely, fingers crossed. So the road is definitely an option for me. And maybe sometime this fall, I'm gonna go on a little vacation in August. I might go to a little island or something, but
good for you.
But other than that, I'm gonna be working for most of the fall.
Well, that's great. I mean, you're living your dream. Like this is.
Yeah, you know what? Dream is more like a job. I didn't know your dream was a job. Like I thought it was just partying and telling jokes. Nah, it's like work. I'm up at 8 o'clock in the morning and shit doing yoga.
Yeah.
So drinking vegan tea. So it's work, but it's like having a dope ass job. You know.
Right. Well, that's why it's your dream is like most people, I would say 95% of our world goes to work at a job that they hate. And they're just like, I can't wait till Friday. I can't wait till Friday. Oh my God, I can't believe it's Monday tomorrow.
Right.
And their whole, like majority of their life is spent being miserable. And it's like, you should leave. Like you should try to leave.
I tell comics.
Enjoy your job.
I do. I tell comics, man, if we put the time that we put in as comedians, writing and working and doing mics, we put that amount of time into anything else, we're the top of our class. Like
kidding, right?
The time, take the worst comic in the world, the time he puts in to prepare and work on comedy, you put that in medical school, you're a brain surgeon making $3 million a year. You're a fucking architect. You're governor of a state. Like the time we put in for this is crazy to maybe make it, you know?
Well, that's the thing is like my parents, I lived in New York for the last 15 years. And then with COVID, I came back here to kind of work to get out of that environment. And so my parents are now seeing, instead of just talking to them twice a week, oh yeah, I did these shows and then I did this and blah, blah. They're actually physically seeing what's happening, like still working a day job because I never give up, money. I don't say no to money. Like I just am like, I can find the hours in the day. And then, working on all these creative shows, having all these meetings, so now they're seeing the actual work to where I'm like locked in the study all day. And my dad was just like, oh my God, it's crazy how insane this whole like Hollywood thing is. Like we're trying to attach talent to reality shows. Everybody needs a name and dealing with their agents and their lawyers and like now their wives. Like there's so many different pieces of the puzzle. And then 100%. He's like, then there's no guarantee. And I told my dad, I said, I love comedy. I love creating shows and I'm never going to give up. But at the same time, I also I have an idea for a product that's different, that's needed, that could change the world. I mean, we're not going to space in it or anything, but it will help people. And I'm like, you got to get me you got to find me a patent attorney I can talk to because you can do it all. But I'm telling you, if I had, instead of going into comedy, I had decided to start a product, whether a shoe company, a skincare company, I'd probably be a billionaire.
Right. You'd be and you have great skin, so you could have you could have had.
I know. Help me do that. We're gonna do this. I'm gonna make.
You could have been Bill Gates of skin. You could have been killing shit.
Hey, I'm still young.
This is true. You are. This is true.
But I do have an idea that's not like, I'm not like sitting here saying, oh, Rell, I'm going to start a clothing company or a skincare company. You can do that. It's great.
Yeah.
Saturated market though. So for me, it's like, okay, if I'm going to spend my time and money, I'm not going to go into a very into a really saturated market and try to break apart because my name, I don't have a name yet. I'm going to find something that makes those products better and different and helpful. That's where I feel like you can break apart. So keep making all that TV money because I might need some investors.
I'm trying. It's gonna run out sometime.
I know, but TV is a lot of fun. Like I've been working a lot of trying to actually somehow I've landed in reality, and that's a fun space. But it is very funny hearing, because some people might be listening to this that maybe are accountants or lawyers or whatever, and they say, I had an idea for a reality show. I always watch the Real Housewives of blah, 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 and I had this idea, but they don't know where to go or whatever. Let me tell you something. If your idea isn't crazy enough, from what I've heard, like I had a show where it was like an outdoor type show and we're still working on it, but I kept getting notes back from the production company being like, crazier, we need more exciting, we need crazier. And I'm like, you could put an apple on somebody's head and they could have shoot a bow and arrow off it. Somebody might die. I mean, that's pretty exciting. And they're like, no, not that exciting. I'm like, well, what are you talking about?
Right. But I mean, it's even as simple like, I love like the creativity of, like, for example, like the Netflix show where they can't have sex, right? I forget which one that is.
What was that show? What was that called?
I forget what it was called. But to me, that was such a genius idea. You put 10, 5 men, 5 women, super attractive people from all over the world on an island for, I guess, a month. Give them alcohol and give them food, and they can't have sex.
Wait, the rule is you have sex, they go home?
Well, it's like everybody has like $100,000 at the beginning, right?
Okay.
And whenever you do, you lose like 10,000 for kissing, you lose like 40,000 for having sex, whatever. But you put these drunk 21-year-olds on an island, half naked, all beautiful, and so you can't have sex for a month. People who have sex for 7 times a week, you can't have sex for a month, but all these beautiful people trapped in this house, and just watch what happens. That's a genius idea.
Genius, and it's so simple.
So it's like people need to find your niche, find what works for you. You know what I mean? Like, you're a comedian who works in reality. How can I combine those two worlds to make something I built? Roast Battle was, I'm a comedian who just roasts people all fucking day.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I do. That's what I'm the guy that outside talking shit. I'm also a comedian. And I go, but I also perform in every room. Uh-huh. And the gist was, hey, I perform in these alt rooms, these urban rooms, these mainstream rooms. These people don't hang out together. But every room we're roasting each other. Yeah. How do we find a way to bring these 3 groups together to roast each other and see it work? And that's what Roast Battle was. So I found my niche, and I said, how do I make it work? So I think even for you, whoever, Theo Vaughn is a redneck. He's a goofy redneck from Louisiana. He's a comedian. He found how to play that redneck kind of goofy, dumb guy out there with wing nuts and bats, and he figured out how to make it work for that audience. So it's one thing just being funny. It's another thing to find your fucking niche. Sebastian Maniscalco, he's old school, blue collar Italian. Yeah, that's his niche. So I tell you got to find what is your niche, and then run with it. You can branch out and be this universal comic all day, but at the end of the day, finding your thing is going to be your base. I think that's important.
Yeah. Well, it's true. And sometimes it takes a while to kind of find that. I know there's sometimes where I'm still confused, because I definitely, as I joke about in my stand-up, where I have a face that is nothing like I am. Mm-hmm. I don't look like I look very put together and rich and,
Yeah, I thought I was getting paid for this.
But no, I gotta go. I'm really just like, honestly, like, I'm like, trashy beer, country music, trashy bars. Yeah. Like, I'm just like a closet redneck in a way. And I'm like,
little Eric Church in your player.
Yeah, I love him. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm like, I look like Greenwich, Connecticut, but I act like Mobile, Alabama.
This is very true. I can attest to this. Anybody watching it, I know this woman.
Yeah, you're like, look at this proper girl, and I'm like, what up, motherfucker? You're like, oh, hello.
You're like a first lady with a Budweiser. That's what you look like.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. Can I use that in my stand-up?
That's all you. That's all you.
That is hilarious. But it has to be Coors Light. That is so funny.
Coors Light.
Right? Because I always like have the Coors Light. And one day I'll get them to sponsor me. Right now they're like, beat it.
Right.
So yeah, so what is like I got it, because you've done so much, and obviously you are going to do so much more, but what is like what would be the main, like your biggest dream? Like, what is that? Is it owning a movie studio? Is it being in movies? Is it like
my biggest dream, man? I really love Adam Sandler's career.
So great, right?
I really love I guess you can say Aziz Ansari's career, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys they can go write a TV show, they can go write a movie, they can go do stand up, they can go produce something, they can come back there, you know. You can't really, their brand is so solidified, you can't really define them, and they're not subject to auditions, and they're not subject to they don't really have a boss. It's like they can kind of go and play. Like I said, I like to play in every world. I didn't do this because it's like, oh, I think I'm this fucking super multi-talented, multi-hyphenate. Nobody wouldn't give me shit. Like nobody. I wasn't past at the store. So I took the room upstairs that nobody was using and made a show out of it. Like I wasn't getting stand-up gigs, so I would contact clubs and go perform there. You know, I wasn't. You know, I couldn't get an audition, so I would go on Craigslist and I would go on Actors and get my own auditions. Like so everything I'm doing is because I had no choice.
Good for you.
You know, the difference between then and now is I'm getting paid for it. And now there are people, you know, representation who helps me get these things. But that hustle never really stopped. Nobody was giving me shit, so I just had to go figure it out. I didn't know how to do this shit. I didn't know how to fucking produce a TV show. I had to learn. I had to fail. So, I want to continue in that path, just kind of, you know, not really waiting for people to do shit for me. And that freedom is so much better, man. I can say no.
I know.
No, there's nothing like saying no. I'm good.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah.
And then that's a good place to be. But yeah, it is true. It's like, you know, especially in this business, if you're waiting around for somebody to give you that big opportunity and you're hustling at the clubs. I mean, you and I both see it. There's numerous comics that we can think of that are so funny.
Right.
So talented, but you're like, why don't they get more? Why aren't they more known? Why don't they have more TV? Why don't they have better reps?
Exactly.
There's no right, wrong, or reason in this industry. So it's kind of like your best path in life in general, whether you're in entertainment, is just to forge your own way.
Do it yourself. You know
yeah. I mean, and like you are very similar that way. It was kind of, you know, obviously you do comedy and then you get headshots and then you take acting classes.
Right.
This standard line, and then you just hope, and then everyone's like, well, what would your sitcom be? And it's like, now it's just so different. But for me, it was having trouble getting cast. I was people telling me I don't look like my headshots, but I had just taken them last week. People telling me you need to be yourself on stage, but I was, because they were looking at this and not realizing who I was. And finally I was just like, screw this. Like, I'm a finance major. Like, I know business. Like, I'm going to take a different path. And and I'm happier now. More doors have kind of opened. But yeah, you just got to forge your own way.
100%. You right about that?
Yeah.
100%, girl.
All about, you know, and listen, we all could be, and I always say this, like, and I don't say this to be morbid or negative, because it's not. It's actually meant to be very positive. We could all die tomorrow.
100%.
And what are the regrets? But you know what? I had a thing this morning. I was brushing my teeth in the bathroom, and I thought, and I said, oh my gosh, I know that one of my regrets, if I died or on my deathbed, is that I probably put way too much into work and not enough into like trying to find a partner to share my life with. And I was like, but the thing is, I'm enjoying my work right now, but it's like when you get to the end, like, what is it going to be? So it's kind of having that.
You ask yourself that.
Huh?
Yeah. But that's why we're warriors, though. We really take a hell of a chance, you know, and as much as it sounds crazy, I'd rather say I took this chance and failed than to not take it at all. Because I wouldn't want to be married and have all that stuff, and my whole life I'm thinking about what if, you know. So
you don't want the what if, and that's the thing, is like dying tomorrow. It's like, what are you scared of? You know what I mean? Like, if the worst thing that can happen is death, then go take that chance.
90% of people are like, what if? It's enough. We got enough what ifs, you know.
Yeah, don't be a what if.
Don't be a what if.
Be a result. Be like, look at that. Be an inspiration.
Right. Exactly. 100%.
That's always the great thing. Okay. So tell everyone before we wrap up where we can find you, how to look out for the show you can't mention yet.
Oh shit. I'm on every social media app as Rell Battle, RELLBATTLE, and the show it's a show. It's involving Kevin Hart and Snoop Dogg. It's gonna be coming out
I was
late
gonna say
August.
Kevin Hart, but then you said,
Well, yeah, I mean, I gave a crazy hint.
you
Who
said
cares?
he's really big, but he doesn't have as much something with the people, and so that's why I thought
Yeah,
Bill Burr.
I said big, but his size. Like he's big, but he's a small person.
Oh, I didn't hear the small person. That would have definitely been Kevin Hart.
Right.
I love Kevin
So
Hart.
that'll be out August, September, and then I'm still writing the show for NBC. It's called Uncivil Law. Hopefully that gets greenlit sometime soon, and I'll be performing, doing stand-up constantly. You know, just trying to battle these demons. You dig?
Dude, I love it. But I got to ask you before you sold a show about lawyers.
Right.
Was that? But you never went to law school and you're not a lawyer. Where did that inspiration come from?
Well, the show's based off my ex-girlfriend. She was a lawyer. She is a lawyer, and her roommate was she was a defense attorney for immigration. Her roommate was a prosecutor, and so they would have little roommate tiffs and shit, and that shit kind of bleed into the courtroom. But they would bring up stuff in the courtroom, and then courtroom stuff they would be arguing about that at home. But they were best friends, so I thought that'd be kind of like a cool little take on like the Odd Couple, and it's me and this other kid who's Iranian, and we bring some cultural stuff back and forth through the court and through home, and just it just kind of it's giving multiple sides of arguments constantly,
Yeah.
And we thought it'd be a quick little fun kind of comedy. And that's where we at.
I think it's fantastic. And so the whole process is even though they buy it and they give you some money, it kind of goes into their filing system or whatever, and then they just kind of decide what they're going to make.
Yeah, getting a television show bought. It's just you got drafted pretty much. Now you're on the team. Now you gotta make the team. You know what I'm saying? So so we're like on second base right now with the script, and so we're gonna keep churning it out, and hopefully we get something that works. So we've been working really hard on it for a couple of months now. So we'll see what happens.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you, Madison.
That's exciting shit.
Yeah,
I think that sounds like a great idea. So very, very excited. But the Kevin Hart thing will be on Peacock?
That'll be on Peacock. That'll be Peacock this summer. Well, late summer, like August, September, yeah.
Okay, so you guys are filming now?
We're working on that, filming and writing everything now. Yeah, so we're busy. We're in the studio making it happen.
So exciting. I know. I'll let you know when I come to LA. I want to come say hi.
Yeah, fuck with me, man. So when you come out here.
Yeah, for sure. Well, this was amazing. You guys definitely check out.
It wasn't funny. It wasn't funny though. It was just like
but I run a self-help podcast. I don't know why.
Okay.
But you want to know why I started a self-help podcast? I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
It's more like business educational type.
100%. Yeah.
But the reason I did it was because I kept hearing comedy where people are like, Ronnie Chang said, I love Ronnie Chang to death, but he's talking to me in the green room the first time he meets me 3 years ago. And then he sees me on stage and he goes, yeah, it's funny stuff, but you were so much more interesting in the green room. Like I was fascinated by your story and just, your kind of education level and what you do and your interest. And then you went on stage and it was like very surface, like, I suck dick for free. And then he was like, I want to hear more.
First of all, you suck dick for money, Madison. I want people to think that's the real thing.
I wish I did. That's the problem. The good girls get screwed. You know what I mean? Literally.
That's true. It's a good point.
Yeah, the bad girls are smart.
Right.
But no, and stuff like so for me it was, how do I show that more interesting, deeper side, in-depth side of me without having the pressure to be funny. And so I was like, I'm not going to run a comedy podcast. I'm going to run finding interesting, inspiring people to kind of learn about different areas. So it's we cover comedy, cryptocurrency, you know the show. So.
Right, 100%. So I got you. Dope. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you and your part too, Maddie. I appreciate it.
Oh, well, thank you. Hopefully something will break soon and you'll be even more proud.
I will. I will be, girl.
I know. All right. Well, you guys check out Rell Battle. Fucking hilarious. Keep an eye out for her show in August. And hopefully the lawyer show very soon on NBC. And you could follow him. All the links will be on the website at nexttomadison.com. So yeah, check him out. He's awesome. If you're in LA, I'm sure he'll be on stage soon, or New York. And for the rest of you that are at home, at the gym, in the car, wherever you are listening, I thank you again for tuning in, and I appreciate your time, and I appreciate you, Rell. We'll
Thank
see
you,
next
Maddie.
time to find out who's next. Hey, your host here, Madison Malloy. Please make sure to subscribe to the show on all podcast platforms, and please rate and review us on iTunes and Spotify. Also, if you have any questions or comments, you can email us at contact@nexttomadison.com. I thank you again for listening. Bye.